Brenda Ringwood, and I am your host for the Becoming the Best You TV talk show. This isn't any ordinary TV talk show. It is a show about becoming the best version of yourself. The change is possible if you really want it. We share stories about ordinary people doing extraordinary things, sharing encouragement, hope, and perseverance of overcoming from people from all walks of life who are doing wonderful things. It is our hope that the things they have struggled to overcome will encourage you to step up and do the things that you want to do in life. To step out and be heard. Don't let your past stop you. Don't let fear and doubt and what others say get in the way of your happiness. Stay tuned as we share amazing stories in hopes that your dreams will unfold. And remember to always put your crown on. Wear that crown, because only you rule your kingdom.
Welcome to Becoming the Best You talk show. I'm your co-host, Isabel Black, or Izzy, the Intentional Healer, and I am here with the Professor of Change, the one and only Brenda Ringwood.
Hello, everybody.
In Atlanta, Georgia, with one of our favorites, Prynce, Micheal. So you are in for a treat today. Hey, y'all.
He is one of our B2BY speakers, and we were in Atlanta, and he lives here, so we said we can't pass this up.
Y'all better not have it.
Right.
Just saying. Y'all better not have it.
You know, you've got a fascinating story.
I mean, it's all right. It's all right. It's kind of fascinating if y'all want to put it out there like that. It
And
is.
you're author of 3 books.
I am international best-selling author
That's right.
of 2 of which.
That's
Yes,
right.
yes.
And let me tell you, this guy right here has went from homeless
Come on
to
now.
home owner.
Being on public assistance, y'all, food stamps before they actually had the card, when you actually had the little paper money. But anyway, we ain't gonna go there.
So let's kind of start with, let's pick up maybe the teenage Prynce.
Okay. Well, I say like my teenage years, even though adolescence starts at 13, I always say that my adolescence really did not start at 13, it started at 14. And the reason being is because I did professional modeling from 14 to 19, and I was a 22-inch waist at the time. So I was very thin, and it worked. But during that time, I got a lot of backlash because I was 98 pounds.
Yes, tall.
Yeah, I was 98 pounds, so I was very skinny. I looked very awkward. So a lot of people didn't know how to be nice. And I always say that kids can be very cruel. And because I was so skinny, people thought something was wrong with me. So my mom took me to the doctor, and they're just like, ma'am, there's nothing wrong with your child. Like, he's healthy. Like, there's nothing wrong with him.
News.
Yeah, I also ran track, and I mean, I was just thin. But what my mom always forgot is that she was skinny. My mom was a size 4 up until probably about 10 years ago. And she was just like, well, I'm finally gaining me some weight now, honey. Because, thin was always in back in the day. But now, honey, it's about having hips and curves and thighs.
You had that 22-inch waist, I had a 22-inch thigh.
So my adolescence was very different. I got a chance to model. On top of that, I really saw myself just trying to develop and see who I was, because for so long you were taught who you are without even knowing who you are. So during my adolescence years, I just learned that, okay, well, I'm gonna go to school, I'm gonna become a dermatologist, I'm gonna be the top of my class. And when I graduated high school, I graduated in the top 10% of my class. When I graduated college, I graduated at the top of my class again. And I got accepted into Johns Hopkins Medical. And I said, oh my gosh, like, this is it. But then I realized I hated school. I was just like, I don't even like school. Like, the only reason I went to school is because that's what I was told. I was told I had, that's what I was supposed to do. Yeah. So I'm like, I don't even want to do this. Like, I want to go to school on my terms. Like, I want to be able to help people with their skin. That's all I've ever wanted to do. And I said, well, I think I can do this in a different way. If I had money, I wouldn't even have to go to school. I can just create a product or something like that. And now we have me now.
Yeah.
So
Celebrate you.
Yeah. So that's always been my thing. My adolescence years were very different from the way that most people's were. I just followed the line of what I thought I was supposed to follow. And once I got to college and I started to think for myself, because when you get to college, that's when you really learn and you think for yourself. That's when I started to develop and say, I don't think this is for me. I'm giving up my weekends to study because I had to keep a 3.5 GPA. Otherwise, I would have lost my scholarship.
Right.
And I'm just like, this is crazy. And everyone's like, oh my gosh, but you're so smart. You graduated with a 3.87. You had the second highest male GPA in the entire school. I'm like, it has nothing to do with being smart. It's called steady.
That's right.
There's a difference. So
you can pump and dump it, doesn't mean you
yes,
continue to use it.
yes. And then now I don't even really believe in the business of college and school unless you are doing something that has to deal with that, that requires it. Like my best friend is a pharmacist. She is required to go to college. My aunt is a pharmacist as well. My aunt was actually the very first African-American pharmacist in Clearwater.
Oh, wow.
So
That's
yeah,
Florida, right?
yeah. So so like that, you need something like that. But if you're getting ready to graduate, you know, but if you're getting ready to graduate and you're going to go work at Taco Bell, then why do you need a degree? Like you have more people that are on unemployment that have degrees than you have people that don't have degrees that are actually in a regular, you know, successful career. And I don't believe that a degree is something that defines your success.
You're right.
I just don't believe that.
I didn't go to college out of high school and grew a very successful business. And I said, I'm going to go back to school. And my dad said, why? And he's a guy with 2 master's degrees. He says, why? And I said, I just feel like I need to. I want my kids to, they can't use that against me and say, well, you didn't go.
Yeah.
You know, I want to give them every opportunity. And I have a BS in biology. I'll do a doggone thing with it. Yeah, I'm still self-employed.
And that's what mine is. I have a bachelor's in biology as well. Yeah. And that's exactly what it is, BS, because it's complete BS, you know? Because before I got the degree, the one thing that they told me, like I went in to apply for all these different positions. And the one thing that they told me was, okay, well, in order for us to hire you, you need more experience. And I said, okay. They said, so first off, you need your degree. I said, okay, I'm graduating in May. Graduated in May. I went back. Oh, you need more experience. Okay, how in the world am I supposed to get the experience if you don't hire me? If you're not hiring me? So yeah. And my aunt was an executive for IVAX Pharmaceuticals, and she told me, well, I can get you a job. I'm like, girl, I don't need your help. I can do this. Unbeknownst to me, young and dumb, okay, I did not know that it's not about what you know up here. It's about who knows you and who knows you back. That's what it's about. And I sat there and I said, okay, well, I don't need your help, auntie. But then I ended up interviewing for Pfizer Pharmaceuticals. And here's this girl, young and dumb. She just graduated with me, young and ignorance on fire. And I'm like, yes, like, oh my gosh, like she's never worked in a pharmacy before. She has no experience. I've worked in a pharmacy. I have my degree. Yeah, I'm like, oh honey, I have this in the bag. And what's funny is that she and I are actually still connected on Facebook. And I'm like, so yeah, we were young and dumb. So yes, I am saying that we were young and ignorance on fire. Okay, anyway, so I go and I'm like, yeah, like, girl, oh yeah, well, good luck, girl. I got this. All of a sudden, I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, well, a day has passed. I haven't gotten anything. Well, you know, maybe they're going to hire both of us. No, not yet. All right. Well, my GPA was higher than hers too. I mean, I graduated summa cum. Okay. Well, all right. Well, hey girl, just checking in. Well, how's everything going? Oh, I'm great. I actually have orientation coming up. Orientation.
She got the job.
She got the job. No experience. I had experience being in a pharmacy, but she had no experience. I was just like, you know what? Flag on the play. There is no way she should have gotten in and I didn't. I was like, it's because she's a woman. That's why. She must be like flicked her hair or something or did something like that. And they were just like, yep, her. But it's okay. But no, like after I graduated, it was a lot for me to find jobs and stuff because most places didn't want to hire you because you had a degree, because they felt as though that you were going to leave as soon as you graduate, like as soon as something else better came along. And I'm like, duh, if something else better that's paying me more that comes along, who would not leave? That's almost like going from being an employee to CEO.
Right.
CEO makes more money, honey. So bye, now you're my subordinate. Like, no, I would rather go and make more money. But then I learned later on that it wasn't even about the money, because you can make more money and be miserable.
Yes.
So Yeah, so that led me to working as a medication technician for this assisted living. And I went and I started making $8.53 an hour. Here I am with a 4-year college degree, got accepted into medical school and making $8.53 an hour. I remember my great aunt Lorraine, and whenever she watches this, I know she is going to cry laughing. I mentioned it in my book, No Time Like the Present, because I had finally found a job and she was livid because she said, "How dare you work as a medication technician?" And I am super paraphrasing, y'all, okay?
Just being nice.
I am editing out all of the beep, beep, and you beep, I'm editing all of that out, okay? Because the stuff that she said to me, but it was all true. And sometimes you need that kind of tough love, because that was very tough though. But
it is needed. It is needed.
Sometimes. And I felt as though that was like my push, because shortly after that, I ended up getting injured. And I was like, well, they love me because that's why I got the highest raise. I went from making $8.50 to $8.53 an hour, and blah, blah, blah.
Highest raise?
That was the highest raise, because they told me that they appreciated how I was always coming in early. I was staying late. I came in on days off. I'm like, sweetie, y'all are paying me $8.50 an hour. Of course, honey, any shift that you're gonna try and give me, I gotta be there. Yeah. Like, I'm not making a lot of money. However, I was making the most money in the apartment that I had. Wow. So I had 2 other roommates, but I made the most. And to me now, I think about that and I'm like, wow, I bragged about that then. Like, I make the most money out of both of these dudes. Like, but now I'm like, we were all broke. Like we were broke. Yes, but we were happy, yes. You know, and here I am. I'm like, I mean, because I'm pulling a double today. Like, oh my gosh, really? Yes, child. So I don't get off until such and such time. Now, double. Honey, after 4 hours of me flying these friendly skies, I'm like, okay, can we hurry this up? I'm ready to go. Like, I'm only in it for the overnight, okay?
Changed your priorities.
Yes, you know, so after me getting injured, it did a few things. It changed the way that I saw myself. I started to learn that I deserved better than where I was, because me getting injured is what caused me to be homeless, is what caused me to eventually have to sell the car that I had, because at that time, I'm like, I can't even renew the lease. I had an eviction on my credit, so my name wasn't even on the lease. However, I was a guarantor saying that, oh, I was gonna make sure that they paid. So I'm sitting here now like, we can't even renew this because we don't, I make the most. So we don't have the money and we don't have it in order for us to be able to stay here still. So I learned that I deserve better than where I was. I learned on top of that, that where I was not my end, it wasn't my end game. Because a lot of times when you are going through these things and you're in these positions, you start to think like, oh, this is all that there is. This is as good as it's gonna get. This is as good as it's gonna get. And I started thinking like, hold on, I am way better than this. I'm only working here because I wanna work here, not because I have to work here. But then it also changed my perspective on work, life, relationships, because here I am, oh, they love me. Oh, they love this. Baby, they wrote that workers' comp claim up in such a way where I couldn't even draw workers' comp. So I was out for 8 months with no pay, which is how I ended up. Which is how I ended up being homeless, because the rule of thumb is you need 6 months worth of reserves. Well, first off, we didn't even have 6 months worth of reserves. Okay, I mean, we were sitting here going and we would buy the ramen noodles, and then we boil eggs, and then we'd slice it up real good. And then if we had leftover rotisserie chicken, honey, we popped that in the microwave and we cut it up real good, sprinkle that on there. Honey, we were bougie. We were broke, but we were bougie. But now, like, after I went through all of that, it took for me to go through that because it ended up being a lawsuit, which I won, I prevailed. And it took for me to go through that, for me to realize these people don't care about you. The only thing that they cared about was making sure that you showed up and you punched in.
That's it.
That's it. Bodies in the building. That's all they cared about. They didn't care about me. They didn't care about my health. They didn't care about any of that. So when I called my mom, I think that's like any parent, she was like a mother bear. She was like, what? Not my baby, and blah, 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 blah. And then she got my grandma going, baby, what happened?
That's grandma.
And then my grandma, so she was like, baby, what happened? Cause now I done got mad. I'm like, oh Lord, now y'all done got my grandma upset. And my grandma has hypertension, so they running my pressure up. I'm like, grandma, how are they running your pressure up? Like, you're running your own pressure up. But but it took for me to go through that, for me to realize that I deserved so much better. And from that point forward, I started looking at myself saying, I deserve the best that life has to offer to me in every aspect of my life.
You guys out there do too.
Yes. And that's now my thing. It's like my mantra.
So when that mind shift changed, what was the first thing you committed to do different?
The first thing that I committed to do different was to tell myself that I deserve better.
Affirmation.
Yes, because honestly, at that point, I didn't even call it affirmations at that time because I didn't even know what it was. I didn't know to look that up. The only thing I knew was I liked Jim Rohn and I liked Les Brown. That was all I knew. Those were the only two people that I knew, because I had done network marketing prior to, and doing network marketing, one of the things that they teach you is personal development, because in order for you to grow your business, you have to grow yourself. If you don't grow yourself, then your business is not going to grow. And that's in any area of your life. If you don't grow, nothing else around you is going to grow and everything else will always be the same. So I started listening more to Les Brown. I started reading my Bible, and let me tell y'all something, honey, when stuff is going wrong, baby, you become the most religious person in the world.
Yes, you do.
Baby, I mean, you fall on your face, baby, you are snotty nose crying, oh Lord, I'm not letting you go until you, and then it's like, then when the stuff starts going good, you're like, oh Lord, I got you on that next prayer, because I forgot, but
it becomes that genie in the bottle.
Yes, so I had to learn and I had to set my priorities differently. So my priorities became, I have to tell myself who I am, what I am, and where I'm going. So I started to tell myself.
Can you say that again?
Say it again?
Say that again.
I had to tell myself who I am, where I'm going, and what I stand for. Yes. So I know I said it differently, but hey, so it's the same message. But I started telling myself that I was going to get a condo on the beach. And I said, it's going to be something I can afford, and I'm going to be able to look at the water. And I kept telling myself that. And the only thing that I saw was I'm getting a condo on the beach. I saw nothing else. I saw all of these other apartments. I saw all of these other condos. Nothing else sufficed. And by this time, I had started another job. I had already won my lawsuit, and I'm working at this bank. And in comes this woman. Her name was Glenda Kennard. God rest her soul.
You still remember.
But I do. And because it was just so unexpected. Because we started a conversation, she's like almost 90 years old at the time, and we're talking, and she says, before I go, do you know anyone that's looking for somewhere to live? I said, me. And she goes, really? I said, yeah. She says, well, I have this condo on the beach, and it's right across the street though, and I'm looking to rent it out. I said, well, for how much? She said, $800.
Wow.
I'm sorry, how much?
That's like unheard of.
I said, yes. And she goes, well, when can you come and take a look at it? I said, I can come after work. And I went over there, I saw it, and she goes, so what do you think? I said, I love it, how much? And she said, 800, and you just have to pay. I said, give me one moment, I'll be right back. I ran to the Amscot, got the money, got a money order, came right back and said, here you go. Because I already had the money, I had just gotten a lawsuit. So here I am, and I said, okay, well, man, I'm gonna have to figure out how to get a bed. I'm gonna have to figure out how to get this. I'm gonna have to figure out how to get that. And she goes, well, the place is already furnished, as you see. So
she was leaving it there.
I said, so you're leaving all this? She goes, yeah. I said, but you know what? You can take the bed because I just got a bed. So those 2 beds, you can take them. I said, but everything else you can leave. And the entire place was already furnished. Wow. Dishes, utensils, everything. And to me, that was a blessing to me because it was something that was unexpected. But stuff like that happens to me all the time. But it took for me to go through this for me to realize, here's a blessing for you.
Yes.
Here's your turning point. Here's your way to say,
accept it. Not
yes.
To say this is too good to be true.
Yes.
Or not do this.
Yes.
Or
Yes.
This ain't right.
Yes. So I had to learn that. And when I see stuff like that happening, like my great aunt, for example, my great aunt Joyce, the pharmacist, when she was down here recently and we were in the parking lot and she saw these pennies on the ground. No, actually it wasn't in the parking lot. It was these pennies that was in CVS. They were on the ground.
Mhm.
And she says, oh, look at that. God is talking to me. And she picks them up and she says, anytime I see pennies, that's my way of knowing that God is talking to me
Wow.
because he's going to multiply this. And what's so interesting is that here's my aunt, she wants for nothing. I mean, like
Picking up pennies.
literally nothing, you know, like whatever she wants, she can afford it. And if she doesn't want to buy it, her husband can afford it. I mean, like, so I'm just sitting here like, oh my gosh, like seriously, you've retired twice, you run your own business and you literally want for nothing and you're picking up pennies.
Wow.
And to me, that was just, that to me was
humble.
That's what I was getting ready to say.
Mhm.
Always remember to stay humble because just as fast as something comes to you, it can be taken away. And everything to every season, in your life, you have seasons and you have a winning season, you have a battle season, you have a prep season, and then you have that season where it's like, okay, hold on now.
Mhm.
And I think that a lot of times people see you, but they only see your winning season. They have no idea what you did in the other 3 seasons. And the other 3 seasons is when you're preparing, you're getting ready to go to battle. They don't see all of that. They only see the winning season. Like when I bought my house here in 2020, I said, you know, people didn't see what I went through before I signed my name on that paper. They didn't see me sitting there, snotty nose crying, praying with one of my really good girlfriends, Tracy and Shima. They didn't see me in the hotel room saying that everything in my life has always been very difficult. It has always been hard. And this is no different. And I know that this is for me. I am not meant to be a renter. I am meant to be a homeowner. And I said, I'm closing in the circle because I'm the last child that my mom had and I was the last one to buy my house. So I was just like, here we are, the family that was always running from pillar to pole, the one that was always getting evicted, the one that the family always talked about. But now we're the ones that own our own homes. We're the ones that own our own cars.
Your situation can always change.
Yes, and everything just changed, but you have to want to change. You have to want it, baby, because and it's not just wanting it. You have to physically put in the work for it to happen. Because if you do not put the work in for it to happen, wanting it is not enough. If you just want it, wanting it bad enough never made anything happen for anybody. You have to put in the sweat equity in order for it to happen. If you don't put the sweat equity in for it to happen, it ain't happening.
And if it does happen, it's temporary.
Come on now.
Yes.
Come on now. Come on now.
And I thought of that when we were speaking a minute ago of things not growing if you're not nurturing it, you're not putting it, cultivating and everything. But some people do get fooled because sprouts are still coming up, right? God is still good. He's still making good things happen in our life, regardless if we're doing our part or not, for it to encourage us. So some people think because they see green shrubbery that they're growing a garden, or they're forgetting to realize is their green shrubs has no fruit. So it's not good enough just to, like you just said, you have to put in the work, you have to water, you have to trim, you have to turn the dirt. Your knees get achy, your ribs get achy and everything, but it's when you start reaping that fruit is when you know that you're truly putting in the work.
That's right. That's right.
And when other people taste that fruit, it tastes sweet to them.
That's
too.
right.
And so I'm so inspired by you right now. I love your story.
Thank you. You know, I just had to learn that. And I always say that I've experienced a lot of life in such a short period of time. In my years, 25 years, we're gonna stick with 25. Yes, I'm way anyway, but we're gonna stick with 25. I got a lot of years of experience, but we're gonna stick with 25. And I tell everybody I've experienced a lot of life. I've seen a lot, I've been through a lot. And I know last year it was very difficult because my brother passed last year in September. And I had a book that I was co-authoring with several different flight attendants around the world called I'm a Flight Attendant and That Is My Superpower. And we're coming up to the deadline. And I was explaining to Jessica, I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. And she was just like, if you can't, that's fine. Just let me know and we can, put you in a different edition or we can, whatever the case may be. And I said, just give me a few days and let me see if I can do it. And I sat there and I said, you know what? If my brother were still here and I were the one that transitioned, my brother would still keep pushing. I was like, I know the type of man that my brother was. And I said, I'm pretty sure if the shoe were on the other foot, he would push through. So I said, I'm going to have to push through as well. So I pushed through. It was very difficult because I've never been placed in a position like that. But I said, you know what? You don't grow when things are going good. You grow when things are in disarray. You grow when things are just going haywire. And when you feel as though that you can't. And I said, it's not the fact that I can't, I haven't even tried to. I haven't even attempted.
And if you stay stuck in that negativity things, you're never going to see the good and what came from that, because you're not willing to look ahead or look through it.
Yes. And that was my biggest thing. I said, I have to push. So what I did was I used the pain that I was going through and use that to tell people you have a choice, because my chapter in the book is called Peanuts or Pretzels. And you have a choice. You have a choice to stay where you are, or you can move on and say, you know what? It's not the fact that I'm forgetting you. I'm using what you just gave me to help other people. Because now you just left a legacy that I can pass on to other people because of what you've been through. Now I can tell your story because you can. And if I don't put it in this book, then I'm doing you a disservice because I'm not telling your story. I'm not putting in the effort. I'm not telling what can be because of that. I've learned so much throughout my life. And the only thing I want to do now is just encourage people.
Hello. I am up in my virtual office doing amazing things. And I've got this event coming up and I'm so stoked about it because it is about becoming the best version of yourself. But the reason why this whole movement came about is because of my past and because of things that happened to me and the things that I had to overcome. So I'm going to read to you a little portion of a book I wrote in 2015 while I was incarcerated that's about restitution. And it's not about restitution in the form that you're going to think it is. It is a fiction thriller novel. And this chick, man, she really methodically thinks out her life and how she's going to get revenge. Cold, hard revenge, like 5 years later. So she restructures her whole life, including her body, her size, her physical fitness, her looks. Nobody knows who she is. And she gets what she wants. So I'm going to read this little thing to you. And I just kind of getting started on it. So I want you to put yourself in a situation where you might want to seek revenge. But the problem with revenge is sometimes it's just best served cold, right? Here we go. Here's chapter 1, and it kind of gives just a little bit of a overview of what's going to happen next in this book. Information is money. In the business world, it is survival. The saying too much information is a bad thing couldn't be a truer statement. I sit here reminiscing about things I got away with in life. I was full of hate, vengeance, and revenge. I couldn't see straight with it. Anger had engulfed every feeling in my being. It penetrated through my bones. Everything I had was stolen from me. People I trusted turned on me, betrayed me, took from me. They would pay. I made sure of it. I remember it like it was yesterday. I watched them all beg me to stop. Their screams falling on my ears were as beautiful as birds singing on a new spring day. I remember my husband saying how he wanted to burn their house down with his entire family in it while he watched helpless. My husband could never bring himself to do it, but me? Now that was a different story. I trusted them, all of them. I taught them my life's business practices and strategies. I trained them on how to sell it and to do what I had been successful with for over 20 years. They took everything from me. I turned numb, cold, and uncaring. I started plotting my revenge. My plans were detailed and everything was very methodical. I would execute them to the fullest extent and marvel in their screams. My family and the authorities would never link it to me. Years had passed before the first victim was taken, the first of many. That's just part of chapter 1. You know, this lady was so wronged against that she took time out to recreate herself and take back what she wanted. Now, there's a little bit of violence in here. It is a fiction thriller novel. I don't recommend that anybody do anything in this, but man, this story is, it's edge of your seat. People tell me they can't put it down. They read it throughout a day and a night. It is that good. So, just stay with me for a little bit while I touch with you on the book called Restitution and find out a little bit more about this character, what she's capable of, how she became this person that she became. And although she's out for revenge and doing some things that are against the law, you actually start to like her. Stay tuned for more.
So I always wanted to write a book, so I'm gonna take this time, I'm gonna write a book. So I took everybody in my life that I thought had wronged me, and some of them did, maybe not to the extent that I was thinking, and I created a female serial killer, and she killed off every single one of us. Remember, change your mindset, that will change your actions, and that will change your life. So tune in for more incredible stories. We will talk to you later.